away your location. So by standing by the side of the door for 15 to 30 seconds, you've just increased your ability to ensure that that scene is safe before you continue through turning on lights or bringing other people into the scene. Okay, before you even enter into the house, do a 360 around the house. Obviously, we're going to look for those same things we talked about during the IVA: vehicles, people, litter, things of that nature. As you're walking the exterior of the house, you're also looking for other things, and that would be exit routes. If I'm going in the backyard and there's walking trails and bike trails and things of that nature, if I'm in the house and something bad happens and I have to escape right away and I can't use the door closest to where your vehicle's at, you might have to go through a back door. And if there's trails there, you can run and use those trails because those trails lead to something. There's a possibility there are other people on those trails. So you just increased your availability to go ahead and respond quickly and safely in the event a situation happens within the house. And then again, that includes identifying alternate escape routes. Any questions on this? Who practices all of these? Who practice some of these? All right, super, good, good. Who practices none of these? Because I'll tell you what, a $700,000 home, psh, I'm there, right? You know, and sometimes we don't think about security. We're thinking about those dollar signs. There's a saying, if you're paying attention to something, that means you're not paying attention to something else. Okay, so safety while showing a property. You know, nowadays people find houses on Zillow. A lot of offices have phone and floor time. A lot of offices gone away from phone and floor time, and all they have is people that have certain days and certain shifts, and they get the phone calls when leads come in. Every office is different. Everywhere we travel, everything is different. But one of the things we talk about is if you do have a walk-in, and I was watching the video that was playing prior to our presentation, and I was really happy to see that this stuff mirrored exactly what they were suggesting. And that's pretty simple. We know if someone comes into the office, we have an office administrator that does a lot of the paperwork for us. And what we try to do is we introduce them to a fellow realtor, or have the administrator basically have eyes on this person. If we can, we try to get a copy of their driver's license. During one course, somebody did not like the idea of us taking their driver's license. He goes, there's personal identifying information on the driver's license. I show an 18-year-old my driver's license so I can get a beer. You're there in a professional capacity. So there's no PII, personal identifying information, that they can really use to hurt you in any shape, any way or form. So driver's license, if you can, try to get the make and model, description of the vehicle. Always let coworkers know where you're going, and have a charged cell phone with you. Who here has kids? Okay. Who here, whenever your kids are going somewhere, you ask them like a handful of questions before they leave, right? Some are like, nah, get out of here. I don't like you. I care about you. Tell me everything that's going to happen where you go. So you have two different types of parenting. I trust you, and then I don't trust you at all. So we have an acronym called GOTWA, G-O-T-W-A, GOTWA. Where are you going? Others who are going with you. The time that you're leaving and the time that you're coming back. W, what do you do when the plans change? Then actions taken if you're in an emergency. GOTWA. Those are the things that if you were going to go show a house and you're letting somebody know, whether it be a spouse or a coworker, if you use that acronym GOTWA, G-O-T-W-A, where are you going? Others who are going with you. Time you're supposed to be there and time you're supposed to be back, with a grace period of 15 minutes, because some people can talk a lot. I'm not mentioning names. And, you know, what to do if the plans change, and actions taken if you are in a crisis. Safety when at the property. Kelly and I were talking sometimes, you know, when we have winterized homes, you know, sometimes it's so dark inside, you can't tell if there's anybody inside of there. So always have a good flashlight with you. Never surrender your flashlight to somebody. If they want to go into some places that are dark, they can use their own phone flashlight. Or when you go to talk to them, say, hey, if you have a small flashlight, and I always use those words. If you have a small flashlight, bring it with you. If it's a stranger I don't know, and they got those old school, big, huge mag lights with the D-size batteries, I don't know about you. I don't feel comfortable with that. But anyway, always allow the potential client to enter any room first. Remember to maintain a reactionary gap. Your reactionary gap is typically about 6 feet. So if I'm talking to somebody, I have my reactionary gap and my hands are up. In a self-defense scenario, when you start feeling uncomfortable about something, if you think about how people hold their hands, Some people will talk with their hands down like this, and my arm makes the letter I. I is for idiot. If you're feeling uncomfortable and your arms are down or in your pockets, you're an idiot. If someone is making you feel uncomfortable and you're like, whoa, I don't want any problems, your arms make the letter L. L is for loser, because if they punch you in the face or the head, because your brain is your supercomputer, well, for most people. And I'm kidding. He's not coming next year. Okay, anyway. Your brain's a supercomputer. And what happens when you drop a computer? It crashes, it breaks. So if your hands are down here, I don't want no problems, and they strike you in the head, either with their hand or with an object, you're going to lose. But if you talk with your hands up, V is for victory. You have enough time to block, defend, open up doors, push the opponent away. So as you're talking with somebody, always blade your body at a 45-degree angle. We call this the interview stance in law enforcement. Have your hands up as you're talking to them. You know, different people I talk with, we're Italians, we always talk with our hands, blah, blah, you know, and that's actually a great thing to do for self-defense purposes, because having your hands down, if they hit you, your whole body is going down. Okay?
I'm always like this, you guys, and there's so many times that I'll do a women's self-defense class, and I'll notice myself, I'm just standing like this now normally, right? So it doesn't look, at least you guys can tell me, I don't think it looks odd, right? That I'm standing here talking to somebody, right? So it feels very natural. You don't have to be all, you know, big and yeah. But as long as that they're up here, rarely have I shown a home like that. But you know, to have them up here, it does not have to be such an obvious big thing, right?
All right, some other tips when showing a property. Obviously, what we're going to do is we're going to have you guys open up the bedroom door or any door for them and let the clients go in first. We don't want our backs to our opponents in a self-defense scenario. Same goes with showing places, showing houses. So have them go in first. When you go into a room with them, always be within arm's reach of that door handle. If something feels uncomfortable, if they tried to bum rush you, whatever, you can easily grab that door, close it if you can, and you know, give you some valuable seconds so you can make decisions depending on the threat level. Don't go further into the room than the clients. Think about keeping yourself in a position of advantage for escape. So again, by windows, by doors, by door handles, those are those things that we just highly recommend. If you have self-defense tools, ensure they are accessible. I have so many people, and I say, who here, here's a question, who here goes to showings with a firearm? Awesome, good. Who here does showings with a pocket knife? All right. Who does showings with pepper spray? Who goes to showings with nothing? Woo. Okay. And you know what? That's your decision, right? We believe that your safety and security should be in layers. What I mean by that is, when my wife goes to show houses, my wife's a firearms instructor, so she has her everyday carry. She has a pocket knife and typically pepper spray. So she has different options. If one fails, she has a backup plan. If you don't go there with any self-defense tools and your empty hand self-defense skills are not working and your verbal de-escalation is not working, you have not set yourself up for success.
I feel like that's such an important part because like you had mentioned earlier, right? You could not park in a proper place. So one level, it's, you know, being safe in levels, right? So one level failed, not due to you, but due to the circumstances, right? So do you have the other levels in place? Are you equipped to take care of yourself in the event of, right? I don't know if you were going here or not, but those of you that have pepper spray, do you know what they're made of? Oh, you're getting there. All right. Usually you do it then. Go ahead.
Yeah. All right. So another thing too is obviously check your clients if there's obvious signs of alcohol or drug use. Scan their body up and down to see if they're printing a weapon. If I had, you know, this going on. This is a funny looking love handle, isn't it? All right. So, you know, scan them up and down for weapons. They have every constitutional right to carry a weapon, and having a weapon on you doesn't make you a bad person, does it? But you having that knowledge that they have it on there could work to your advantage in case something were to happen. All right, and always keep your eyes and head up. A lot of people, as they're doing showings, some people turn off their cell phones. Some people have cell phone addiction, and whenever their phone is going off, even doing showings, they do the quick look and they put it here. They do the quick look and they put it back here. And that's not really safe, is it? It's not even good customer service. But again, cell phone addiction is a real thing, isn't it? Okay. Going into basements. Do you guys go into basements with clients? Some 3 different answers. Yes, no, depends. And I thought depends were undergarments, right? So yes, no, and depends. You know, we always teach never go down there because you have your seller's disclosure that discloses if there's anything wrong down there, in theory, it's already documented. The second part of it is you're not home inspectors. You're also not maintenance people that can fix anything if they try to lure you. Hey, Kelly, come on down here. Check this out. This wasn't mentioned before. Here's Kelly, not in the basement. What is it? Some wiring that's all jacked up and everything. Okay, well, hey, take your cell phone, take a picture of it for me. And then when we go to have a home inspection or we'll just double check that it's on the seller's disclosure.
And sometimes, you guys, it's okay to lie, right? So sorry, I have a really bad knee. There's no way I can make it down those steps today. You know, so you don't have to say, yo, I'm uncomfortable with you and I'm not going to go downstairs, right? That might be, you know, if you're, you know, trying to sell them a home. There's nothing wrong with saying, you know, I injured my foot or I have knee issues or, oh, I can't do stairs because of whatever, right? So you can put it off onto something else.
So obviously going down the basement is something we always recommend you don't do for your safety. Because if there is a possibility that there's an element of danger, why put yourself in that scenario, right? 5 Ps, poor planning precedes poor performance. You guys ever heard of the 5 Ps? Okay. For those who haven't, plan ahead. Think about your safety as you're even driving to the location. Okay. Commercial buildings, a lot of commercial buildings don't have power in them. For those that do carry a firearm or a pocket knife to a showing, here's a quick, easy question. Do you guys carry tourniquets? Bleeding management, bleeding control items? A first aid kit is not a bleeding management kit. A first aid kit is what we call a boo-boo kit, right? If I'm walking inside of an old commercial facility and I find myself getting scraped, I'm wearing shorts because it's hot, I lacerate my leg and I start bleeding. I think one of the tools that realtors should have in their vehicle is both a boo-boo kit and a bleeding management kit. All right. So obviously, commercial buildings can be dark, can be scary, can be uncomfortable. There's a guy named Alan DeBecker that has a book called The Gift of Fear. It's a phenomenal book. I've gone to a lot of different safety and security seminars. I listened to the audio book, The Gift of Fear. I learned so much from this guy because he's an executive protection guy. He also interviewed all these different serial killers. Why did you do this? Why did you do that? He also interviewed victims, and he presents so much great information. But one of the things he tells you is to listen to your instincts. Always listen to your instincts. Okay, this is one of my favorite parts to talk about. The pre-attack indicators. Involuntary and non-behavioral outward manifestation of physiological indicators include the following. So some pre-attack indicators include profuse sweating, rapid, shallow breathing, dilation of the pupils, flared nostrils, trembling of the hands and knees, flushing, and agitation. The agitation can be, impatience. It could also be emotionally or chemically induced. All of these signs and symptoms seem to have something in common. I'm excited. Rapid heart rate. Rapid heart rate causes your body to act in a lot of these different types of descriptions here. These descriptions alone does not indicate anything, but if you have multiple flags that show this, these are what we call the pre-attack indicators. The next one we're going to talk about is the physical behavior indicators, the way that they behave. We all know how people talk to each other. If I wanted to talk to Kelly, excuse me, ma'am, where's the bathroom at?
Oh, it's over there.
Thank you. Isn't this how we typically talk to people? But if I'm like blading my body and I'm asking her where the bathroom is this natural behavior? It's not a natural behavior. I'm blading my body because I don't trust her or I'm about to attack her. So we're going to talk about some of these physical indicators. Okay, avoiding eye contact. That is an indicator. However, there are certain cultures like Hispanic cultures and other cultures where making eye contact is disrespectful. In our culture, making eye contact is respectful. I acknowledge you. I see you. So if you see somebody that does not fit in those different demographics culturally that are not making eye contact with you, pay attention to that. That's guilt. making their eyes go down because you know they're about to do something they're not supposed to do. Fist clenching or pumping. They're walking, their hands are doing this because they're excited. They're about to do something. Before somebody decides to attack a person, typically they've already planned it and fantasized about it. They're excited. Now they're physically going to do it. There's two different types of criminals in this world. There's the possessions criminals and the process criminals. The possessions want your wallet, your keys, your car, your cell phone, things of that nature. The process criminals are those people that want to know what time you go to work. Do you lock your car at work? What time do you go home? Do you leave your car unlocked? And if you do, you guys know your proof of insurance and registration gives me your physical home address. So I'm gathering information. And then later on, what do? They decide to attack you and do something more serious than what a possessions criminal would do. In your imagination, everywhere it's going, that's what they would do. Posturing, just like when I was talking with Kelly, which also goes with body blading. My body is just, in a position that doesn't look natural when talking to people. Bobbing and rocking. You guys ever get mad and go, woo? If you weren't my son, I'd spank the hell out of you, dingo boy. You guys ever do that before? The bobbing and rocking. Hiding their face. How do people hide their face? Give me some examples. Hat, sunglasses, magazine, walking by your desk, and I don't want you to see me, so I fake like I sneezed, covering my face, so you don't get to see what nationality I am, what color my eyes are, if I have any scars or identifying marks on my body. Focused attention, you're talking to them and they're zoning out. Scanning, what do you think the bad guy is scanning for? Sure. Your bad habits, absolutely. What else? Witnesses, yes. What else? Escape routes, yes. So I basically break it down into a couple different categories. They're scanning for good guys, in other words, other threats that could stop them from doing what they intended to do. Bad guys, in other words, scanning to see if his partner's ready, like if he's the driver, and I'm like, right, give him the signal. So good guys, bad guys, cover and concealment, places that I can go to conceal myself or protect myself, and also where they can go and where you can go. And then finally, avenues of escape. Good guys, bad guys, cover and concealment, avenues of escape. Probably looking for security cameras as well. A lot of times, if they're really good at what they do, they've already scoped out the place. A lot of times, people will have an interaction with a client, and they had a really good interaction with this person. Sometimes the professional predators, and there are predators out there, people, they're everywhere. The professional predator will test your vulnerabilities, maybe able to do one transaction with you. And then they'll call you a couple months later. Hey, this is Michael. Remember a couple months ago I bought a house from you? Oh, yeah. And since it went pretty good and you felt that transaction allowed you to bring your guard down, doesn't matter how many times a person, works with you, your guard needs to be up as if it was the first time.
That literally just happened to me, you guys. I had worked with this gentleman and his wife and kids on a couple of occasions and sold them first their teeny little cabin on the water and then their bigger home on the water, right? And then we didn't chat for a little bit other than, hey, how's it going if we saw him in town? I get a phone call from him to come and list the new house. He has questions. So of course I went expecting the same type of transaction and the same type of mood I've always had from him. Little did I know, since the last time that I saw him to this time, his wife had left him. He now is very much a severe alcoholic and has drug issues. And I went there expecting one thing and got another, but I expected something because I'd worked with him before. And I wouldn't so much say that, they were friends, but if we saw them out to dinner or something, I'd send them a drink, stop, say hello, right? But when I got there, my interaction, I was so thrown off. And I was so surprised by this new person that I was witnessing. And my guard instantly heightened, but I walked in there very comfortable. And I shouldn't have. I didn't know him that well. They can change from one transaction to the next. So don't forget some of these, even if it's somebody you know. What did I do? All of these things. I kept my distance. I kept my reactionary gap. I still helped him for those days and those purposes. He did try to start calling me on a personal basis, as to which I had to say, so sorry. That's not the relationship we have. We have a professional relationship together, and that is it. So I had to very boldly draw that line just, through the phone. But I knew when I met him this next time when he was acting this way, something was very off, right? He was not the same person. So didn't matter, didn't have to end up selling his house. He ended up losing it anyways because of all of his addictions. But, just goes to say, just because I worked with him before, it was a great reminder for me. I'd had 2 other transactions with and expected to have a very similar scenario. And he was not the same person.
Other behavior indicators, taking off their jewelry because they're about to throw down. And then finally, their body language. If I come up and start pointing, my finger in your face and say, I'm going to kick your butt, right there, that furtive communication. You ever watch I Love Lucy? Ricky Ricardo could speak English, but when he was mad at Lucy, was he speaking English on TV? Oh, hell no. All right, So anyway, hand gestures, changing of languages, those are some things. Plus the fact that they start using more foul language. If they came in like a saint and they're leaving, that someone needs to go and do confession, that tells you there's something going on. Okay, so we're going to talk about the Realtor Self-Defense Toolbox. We brought some examples of different things for the Realtor Self-Defense Toolbox. The very first thing I want to talk about is this thing that I have on my keychain. It's called a Kubotan. And if I have it in my pocket and I'm feeling very uncomfortable, I can step back and get out of my pocket and get ready to defend in a fraction of a second. I wasn't even trying to go fast, but I got it out of my pocket and ready to defend against an attacker in under a second. Would you agree? So these self-defense tools I like, hit soft target areas, the eyes, the philtrum, the ears, the throat. Even if you hit like the thoracic cavity and kind of come down at an angle, just the pain is crazy. Striking the armpit area, the ribs, solar plexus, the groin. If someone came up behind you, want to come up behind me real quick? She gets me in a bear hug. Let's go over my arms.
Whoops, sorry.
That means don't touch me there, okay? So from here, my hands are down, I can pull it out, I can move my hips and start striking her in the leg and in the groin. And as I go to turn, I can change the target area to the face. So a basic Kubotan on the keychain is a great force multiplier.
It's great to the hands too, you guys.
Oh, yeah.
Where I was just like this with him, right? If you can't get to those places, that sucker hurts in your hands.
Any of you guys ever gone through a course where they teach you to put your keys in between your fingers?
My gosh.
That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Most keys are not like they used to be, right? Absolutely. So a long time ago, like in the 80s and early 90s, you always heard, put the keys in between your knuckles or your fingers, and if someone comes at you, you can hit them with it. First of all, number one, it's a one-hit wonder, all right, which means once you hit it, the keys are going to go up and down, up and down, up and down. And remember something, for every action, there's an equal and opposite what? Reaction. So all the power you put into hitting them with your keys have now come back into the palm of your hand. You probably injured your own hand. So we have another type of Kubotan that has these really nasty pokey things popping out, and the shape is octagon. So when it's in your hand and you strike, look, it doesn't move like it does with keys. So you can go ahead and attach this to your keychain and have a improvised weapon / a force multiplier. In the state of Michigan, you are authorized to carry an expandable baton. If a police officer sees you with it, what's that for? Don't say to beat the hell out of people. That is the wrong answer. But you are authorized in the state of Michigan to carry an expandable baton. What I like about the expandable baton, well, when you hit somebody with it, it hurts. It gives you a reach advantage. If someone has a knife or an edged weapon, I have a reach advantage now. And psychologically, like when you hear a shotgun go, if you hear this, for those who know that sound, we have what's called the puckering effect, right? They don't want anything to do with you if you have an expandable baton. This, when it's collapsed, can be put in your back pocket, in your purse, in the side wall of your vehicle, the driver's side door. It can be put in your glove compartment, center console. This is a very easy thing to have on you at all times, and it's not very heavy. Next, we're going to talk about the pepper spray. We got some slides on the pepper spray. I'm going to kind of go a little bit faster because I want to keep on track. My favorite part of this course is the hands-on self-defense. We've had pregnant women, people in their 80s, people that had hip and knee procedures done, and they do our self-defense. Like, I love it. It's empowering. Thank you for that. But the pepper spray, OC, Oreo Resolum Capsicum. These ones here has a live pepper spray and a training pepper spray. Most people that carry pepper spray have zero formal training. And here's an example. Who here carries pepper spray again? Raise your hand, please. Okay. Is it water-based or alcohol-based? I don't know. Does it come out as a stream or a cone? You sure? Okay. Most of them do, but there's a lot that come out as mist. Is it gel or non-gel? I don't know. Have you ever took it out and sprayed and tested it? Okay, so you have something you haven't, and this is common for the record. So it's not me teasing you. I'm teasing her. I'm not teasing you. But a lot of people that have pepper spray have no clue how to use it. We teach chemical irritant training classes where we have women that says, I carry pepper spray. Where's it at? It's in my purse. Great. Let me see your purse. So I open up the zipper. I put the training pepper spray in it, zip it up, and do what everyone does. Shake that purse up. All right. And then I would be from here to that wall, and I would have a simulated training knife. It's not sharp and it's rounded. And I would come at them, and I would walk, not speed walk, not sprint. I would walk. And this person cannot open up their zipper, find the pepper spray, turn it to fire, and spray. And look how far this is. What would you guess the distance between me and this wall is? Pretty far, right? But most attackers don't go, hi, I have a knife. I'm going to stab you. Ready? Begin. They don't announce it. Knives are meant to be felt, not seen. And going back to watching people's pre-attack indicators, if somebody has a firearm or a knife on them or something in their hand, they always hide their hand, don't they? They blade their body to camouflage his presence, to hide his presence. So keep that in mind. But it's important to understand the strengths and weaknesses of pepper spray. What do we have 8 months out of the year in Michigan? Snow, cold weather. Most pepper sprays are water-based. Some are alcohol-based. What does water do at 32 degrees? I can see it now. You have it in your car. I'm going to go ahead and do this showing. I got my pepper spray, right? So you have it in your pocket. Something bad happens. And boop, just one single drop lands on your foot. Boop. Here's the bad guy. What are you doing? I'm trying to pepper spray you. Well, it's frozen, you knucklehead. You kept it and stored it in freezing weather environments. There's no way that is going to work.
I really suggest you guys, for anybody that has one, take it out, spray a tree, at least see how it goes, right? Because they do turn differently. Some of them, they do have a locking mechanism, some of them. Take it out. You know, when I first sprayed mine for the first time, it was not at all what I expected it to be. So I was very shocked when it came out, and I had like a target, just a visual that I picked on the tree that I was about to spray. I didn't hit it. I wasn't even close. Because when you open that up, not all the holes come out perfectly straight, right? So where I thought I had it aimed, but for my particular pepper spray, that hole was off just a little bit, and it went zoop when I expected it to go this way, right? So at least take it out. And, you know, it's not just a one squirt and it's now garbage. So take it out, give it a try at some object, and make sure that you actually know how to use it and you know what to expect when it shoots out.
We have a thing called a bob, which is like a punching bag in the shape of a human. So it has like a human head on it. And we've had courses where I was from here to CJ, which they say on the package works up to 6 to 12 feet. So I'll say the word threat. They have to go ahead and step to the side, bust out their pepper spray, and do that 1 second spurt across the eyes. They missed
A lot.
from this distance more times than they actually hit. But there's one benefit to pepper spray, and I'll tell you a quick story. When I was working law enforcement at a military base in the South, there was a report of a domestic situation going on. I responded to the house. I talked to the wife. Where's your husband? He's up in the attic. He won't come down. So I go over there. You know, hey, Sergeant Munyon, the base police, sir, can you come on down? I want to talk with you. I'm not coming down. Of course, I asked the question, are there any firearms in the house? She goes, yes, but I don't think he has it up there. I said, I need to have that confirmed before I go up there. So I kept telling, just say his name is, John Doe. John Doe, come on down. No, I'm not coming down. I'm tired of her crap, and you can just listen to her side of the story, not mine. So I need you to come on down. I tried scaring him, saying we had a military working dog, and we're going to have the dog go up there. He goes, dogs don't climb ladders this steep. I'm like, oh, smart ass, he's right. So I grabbed my military-issued Oreo Resolute Capsicum Pepper Spray called MK3. I shook it up, opened up the attic door, closed it. I'm coming down. Okay. It came down. One great thing about the pepper spray is if there's multiple people that you're feeling uncomfortable with, just a like that, I mean, people within that 12 feet will be affected by the pepper spray. All right. Now, there's also another thing you can carry in Michigan called CS. OC is pepper spray. CS is kind of like riot control gas. And you can carry it just like pepper spray. And the one benefit of that versus the pepper spray is if I pepper spray Jeff, everyone around you gets affected. But if I use the CS and I spray you, it only affects you. So those are some pros and cons to OC versus CS. Okay. All right. I want to talk about flashlights real quick. I think every realtor should have a flashlight on themselves, on their clipboard, around their wrist, whatever, every time they go to show a house. We have different types of flashlights. I always recommend this shape and size at all times because it's easy to carry. Obviously, with the button on the back, I don't like the ones that have the buttons on the shaft because if you're wearing gloves and low light visibility, it's hard to find it. This right here is not hard to find. What I also like about using a flashlight is some flashlight designs have these ridges on the end. You pop somebody in the face with a flashlight with the ridges and woo, they're gonna have a bad day. All right.
Notice how he's carrying it too, you guys, right? Like this, so you can use it for striking. We had one lady tell us, oh my, who was it? My so-and-so was a police officer. I know how to do that. He's like, all right, get your flashlight, get ready. And she come up to him and was trying to hit him like this with it, and it went flying out the back of her hand. You know, like not so much. So just having one, make sure that you have it like this as you go through the room as well, because it's a striking tool.
I know what you're thinking when it fell out of her hand. Obviously, my abs of steel caused that. Actually, I got abs of aluminum foil that keep food fresh. All right. This is another tactical flashlight that I like because it looks like an ink pen, but it's pretty bright. It's pretty bright. And one of the advantages of using these types of flashlights is if you are startled because you have a squatter in the house or the person that you're dealing with is decides to turn around and take advantage of the situation and attack you, the hands come up, you beam them in the eye with the flashlight, and especially when it's dark, if someone beams a flashlight in your eye, what's the natural human response? The hands come up. Yes, sir. The hands come up, and the hands will tell you everything. Did they have a knife in their hand? Did they have a gun in their hand? Did the hands come up, but you heard a noise by their feet? In other words, they dropped something when you beamed them in the eye. When your eyes are acclimated to nighttime vision, if you have a flashlight 120 lumens or higher, it actually makes their eyes 4 times the legal limit for blindness. Okay. And then obviously we can use the flashlight, just like the Kubotan, to strike whatever soft tissue targets and things of that nature. All right. One more thing I want to talk about, my favorite, is this. If you have a CPL, you can carry this. What I like about it is it has a flashlight option. And then if the person that makes you feel uncomfortable decides to attack you, just do the switch in. All right, I talked about the pucker effect. I think half of you are like in your chairs. Yes, so we have the stun gun. And able to carry this, you have to have a Michigan concealed carry permit. And you have to go to the michigan.gov website and read their legal training portion of being able to carry one of these. These are so light, easy to carry, easy to handle, easy to use. Typically, I would tell people, watch this, and I would sacrifice myself. No more. I'm done. I am done. But I tell you what, imagine somebody trying to attack you and they hear this. Rational thinking people would do what at that point? Turn around and get the hell out of Dodge, right? Because no matter where you get them, it is so painful. And pain is a good teacher. Too bad nobody wants to go to his class, right? All right, so the taser. So some of the tools of the trade: a functional flashlight, pepper spray that you know how to use and you've tested it out, an expandable baton, a flashlight, a taser, and then of course your firearm, last resort. when we teach Krav Maga, we teach a lot of gun disarming techniques. And a lot of people, they get really excited learning these techniques. So we'll go ahead and do this gun disarm. So they take the gun away from the person, they put the weapon in their firing hand, they do the slap, rack, get off the X, and then every once in a while I hear someone go, pew! I'll say, stop, you're going to jail. Why am I going to jail? He had the gun, and then you took the gun away. And then you shot an unarmed person. Remember opportunity, capability, intent? The capability for them to do harm to you. Now, if they come after you and try to take the gun away from you, accidents happen, right? In the back, right? Accidents happen. But a lot of people, they think when they disarm a person, they have the right now to go ahead and use it against the person right away, and that's not the case at all. Trouble comes in pairs. If you take someone's weapon away from that person, scan for more bad guys. Put your back to the wall the best that you can. Always assume they have two weapons on them. There was a scenario where a person broke into a home of this elderly couple. The guy had a pistol and a lead pipe. And he said, I want you two to go ahead and sit down on the couch. Where's your money at? Well, the old man was a prior vet, Vietnam vet, whatever. And he tried fighting the guy with the weapons. And the guy with the weapons kept using the pipe to hit the person, right? And then the wife tried helping, and then the guy used the pipe on her. The guy, the veteran, was able to bring the guy to the ground, hold his arms, and he told his wife, go to the kitchen, grab a knife. She goes to the kitchen, grabs a knife, starts stabbing the guy several times until he was no longer able to cause any more harm. The police showed up. Obviously, he had weapons. He had intent, opportunity, capability, intent. How come he didn't use the gun? Because there was no bullets in it. He was just using the gun to intimidate. He used the lead pipe to do all the damage. So, all right, essential self-defense tips. Stay calm the best that you can. Whenever we are in a stressful situations, you guys heard of the fight, flight, freeze concept, right? There's more than that. A guy named Lieutenant Colonel Dave Grossman wrote a book called On Killing. He is the creator of a science called killology. And he says when people are under stress and have fear, it's fight, flight, freeze, posture, and submit. Those are the 5 ways that we respond to stress and to fear. Fight, flight, freeze, posture, and submit. Do you guys understand all of those, or do the last 2 kind of throw you off a little bit? Well, let me just talk about the posture. You ever seen 2 alley cats about to fight? They make themselves big. I lived in a neighborhood where I was the minority, and whenever someone were to start a fight with me, they make themselves look big. They posture like a peacock. And then submit would be, I have a firearm in my own house. I think I heard something down the hallway. And there's a bathroom door there. There's a bedroom door there, but I swear I heard it down there. I start going down the hallway. Then here's the bad guy with the bedroom with the gun to my head. Submit. Fight, flight, freeze, posture, submit. Those are the ways that we respond to fear. Maintain your safety distance. What did I recommend being your reactionary gap? How many feet? 6 feet. Good job. Good listening. Assess your options. The more that you are scanning your environment and paying attention to those color codes of awareness, you have more options. If your eyes were closed and you opened them and you saw something, you had to make a quick moment decision, more than likely that decision would not be the best decision, but it was the first decision you made. Assess your options by paying attention to your surroundings. Here's an example. How many doors do we have in this room? Quit looking around. What would you guess? We have 1, 2, 3 doors. Correct. Okay. Some people might see a threat here and you guys start running towards the doors. Now you're bottlenecking at the doors. So I can have my pistoli. It's like shooting fish in a fishbowl. But these people here should be going for that. Those people should be going for that door. These people should be going for that door. Just like when you get on an airplane, please pay attention to the exit doors. It might be in front of you or behind you. This doesn't do what I need it to do here in a second. We'll move on to something different. Oh, there we go. These are some Supreme Court things telling you about the court cases where people use force to defend themselves. Graham versus Connor. This is stuff that's for all the bookworms and the nerds, really great stuff to learn. But everything I just told you is pretty much good to go. The physiological or psychological factors, there's a thing called techie psych. renders one incapable of proper action or reaction because of the freezing to a situation at hand. The tachypsych or the freezing is involuntary. Your body, your brain shuts off. You have no control of it. But through training and repetition, you will not freeze. Do you think about driving or just get in your car and start driving? Do you think about walking or you just one foot in front of the other? You've done it for so long, it's automatic response conditioning, it's muscle memory. The more you train in your self-defense or you think about these tools and tactics I presented earlier every day, it becomes part of your norm. You don't think about it, it's just natural. And that likelihood of you being caught off guard during a situation is a lot less as long as you continue training. I'm gonna just cruise through this. This was the opportunity, capability, and intent slide I mentioned to you. Yeah. I like this one. Aftermath of a situation. You find yourself defending yourself against somebody. You used force. What do you do at that point? Number one, was the response effective? Did kicking that guy in the nuts do everything you wanted it to do? Or did you miss and you got back up and started attacking you again? People always think kicking somebody in the nuts is the answer. Well, in Vietnam, people were trying to get on helicopters, were shooting a gun, had their arm half blown off. They would pick up the other half of their arm, put it under the armpit, grab the rifle in their other hand and start shooting and get into a helicopter. So if you think kicking a guy in the nuts is always going to be the answer, it is not. Okay, is the situation under control? Is that threat at a void time or is it completely done? Is there a lull in the action? Are there more opponents or weapons? Always assume there are more opponents and more weapons. So that means you have to find a place that gives you cover or concealment from that individual. Continually assess the threat. Does anything else need to be done? And if so, what are the priorities? Whenever you use force, you must be the first person to call law enforcement, not the bad guy. You always report any type of use of force situation for legal purposes, and it also allows law enforcement to track trends where they can go ahead and start changing their patrolled zones and sectors.
Hey, Michael.
Yes.
We're getting the time limit here from CJ. If I could, just two quick things, you guys, that I find super important to share with people. I started to touch on it a little bit ago. When you're showing a house, make sure somebody knows where you are. Make sure somebody knows what your schedule is, okay? I always have either my office admin or my husband know where I'm going. I shoot him addresses. This is where I'm going. This is approximately the time that I'm going to be home. It is so important. Some people think that we have fine friends of each other on our phones and they're like, oh, you're jealous, one of those couples. Oh my gosh, no. I sell real estate for a living. I would really love for somebody to know where I'm at, right? So pick somebody that you trust in your life to share your location with and do those things and set those time frames. Okay, 2, we have a code word in our office. So if I'm calling somebody or I call Michael and it's really somebody's making me feel uncomfortable, my code is Mr. Wayne, right? Like Batman, right? So I'm like, hey, could you please let Mr. Wayne know that I'm running just a few minutes behind. I'm still at the house on Lake Street, right? So I give certain information. And when I tell him, Mr. Wayne, he knows something's up, right? So make sure that you have that planned with somebody. If he's not around, we use our office admin, right, for our office, so we have code words. Last but not least, has nothing quite to do with real estate, but I'm passionate about it, and it's what Michael said about the different doorways. Pick your favorite places, your grocery stores that you typically go to. You usually probably go to the same grocery stores, right? The restaurants that you go to, you guys, know your exits. Take a quick walk around your Meijer or your Walmart if that's where you go. So if you're back in the freezer department and you hear stuff going on at the front of the store, just happened to a girlfriend, well, a client that I know, she posted something at Walmart. They heard pop, pop, pop. They thought it was a shooting. She had her 2 little ones with her, and she's like, all I could think about was getting out and trying to make my way to the front of the store. Right around with the other thousands of people in the store trying to do the same thing, right? So it takes 5 minutes tops of your whole life to do a once around of some of your favorite locations. Where are those exits in your grocery stores? What restaurants do you go to? Where are the exits in there? Just check some of your familiar places out, because they always say things happen where we're closest to home. It's just because we're there the most often, right? So I just wanted to get those quick little tidbits in. Thank you.